welcome to Labour Lens. I am Sharon Ijason. On this week edition of the program, we'll be focusing on activities in tertiary institutions, particularly the welfare of workers and schools. We also have news stories for you. We will be right back. Heavy security presence surrounds Sterling Oil Corporation as the picketing exercise continues. Workers holding placards with various inscriptions insist that their demands must be met. During the protest, I spoke with an employee of Sterling Oil who requested anonymity for safety reasons. He revealed that Nigerian workers are a minority in the organization and are often treated unfairly.
The Nigerians we have in finance there, they are less than 15, and we have over 100 Indians if we work the mathematics very well. Most of the department here, you cannot do anything as a Nigerian because the moment you complain, the next time is the sack letter they are going to prepare for you. And even if you complain, they will tell you, you can go to anywhere, we have our way. That has been the experience, and a lot of people are working with fear here because you do not know where to run to.
The president of Pengasan, who also serves as the president of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, Festus Osifo, reacted to the situation, outlining steps that could prevent a full-blown strike.
They actually reached out yesterday. They were calling, they wanted us to have a meeting with them in a co-hotel, but we refused to go because it's just meeting between Pengasan and them. We know it will not yield anything. So that is why we didn't meet with Sterling, but the Ministry of Labour has also written to us for us to come for a meeting. Then the regulator of the upstream of the oil and gas industry, NUPRC, they also reached out yesterday, so early hours of this morning, trying to fix a meeting for Monday and Tuesday next week. So that we will honor. We will honor the one called by the regulator because we want people that could act, not to just go to a meeting and you speak grammar at the end. It becomes business as usual.
The Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund has compensated an injured staff member of the National Assembly with 25 million naira, reinforcing its dedication to employee welfare and workplace safety. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of NSITF presented a compensation check to the Clerk of the National Assembly during a visit to the Legislative Complex.
We are fulfilling that commitment by the presentation of this check. This commitment, this is a testament of our goal and dedication to providing excellent service to Nigerian workforce wherever they may be.
The MD emphasized that NSITF is not only focused on high-risk workplaces, but on protecting every employee covered by the law. The organization also urged the National Assembly to maintain compliance with NSITF subscription requirements, pledging to process claims efficiently and even set up a dedicated desk within the National Assembly for faster responses.
If you can sustain what you've just started now, not necessarily in National Assembly, if you can sustain it nationwide, I want to believe that the organization will be one of the leading organizations when it now comes to welfare of public servants.
Lawmakers assured that they would provide legislative backing to strengthen the NSITF's operations, ensuring prompt compensation for injured workers across all sectors.
We want to assure the public that in no distant time, we shall be moving in and out to ensure that Nigerians are not exploited by workers. Nigerian employees are not exploited.
And other agencies, companies, private and public, that have not complied, please, we appeal to them in the interest of their staff, they should comply. Thank you.
As the agency continues implementing its mandate, stakeholders hope that this initiative will be sustained and extended to more institutions nationwide.
I think it is coming to a point where the government needs to do something drastic about our tertiary institution, the workers and the situation of things in all those tertiary institutions as regards the materials, the environment and everything. In some of the states now, the tertiary institution workers are on strike for one thing or the other. The issue of ASU has been on the desk of the federal government from time immemorial, and it looks like something that is never going to end. ASU is there, CONUA is there, demanding for various things that are not supposed to be a brainer before it is provided for them. Salary arrears, increments that are not effected, abysmal working and poor condition. I've been to many tertiary institutions, and what you will see there, they are actually hell. And you need to see how these lecturers are living. And these are core to whatsoever that is going to happen to this country. These are where all our researches, all our advancement programs are taking place. But the lecturers are simply not happy. The people that are not even lecturers, the non-academic staff unions, the people that are support staff in this tertiary institution, many of them are living a lifestyle that is nothing to write home about. And we believe that from the federal government and even state-owned schools, they need to wake up now and do something urgently about these tertiary institutions. Almost everybody that will work in Nigeria will have to pass through this tertiary institution. And if the lecturers, if the non-academic staff, if they are not happy, it is something that is going to cause a big trouble. That is when they will be circumventing the process. Many of them have side hustles that they are doing. They are not concentrating on what they are supposed to be doing in the university because they are poorly paid, because their welfare has been neglected over the period of time. Go into their offices. You will see everywhere dirty, everywhere totally nothing to write home about. Some of us have seen schools outside Nigeria before, and we see how these people are well taken care of. Their accommodation, their offices, they are totally terrible. Their salary is nothing compared to what they should be collecting going by the kind of job that they do. So it is high time that the government stood up to this issue and make sure they do something about our tertiary institution workers, both academic and non-academic staff, so that everything will come together and we begin to see a new leaf in this tertiary institution. I believe the governors, the president, all the people in charge of education, the ministry, they need to do an holistic review of what is happening in the education sector. And that is the only time that Nigeria will be able to move forward.
So my view about it is, I feel ASU needs to do better because the strike do affect students a lot. Let's just take, for example, a student studying a course of 4 years. Once they bring up the strike, they stay at home for, I don't know, probably 6 months or a year, and then it affects the students. So instead of the students to finish in that 4 years, sometimes they spend 6 years in universities, which is very, very bad. And then some students use that opportunity to probably learn a skill or something at home, which is useful to them. But I just feel they need to do better because them bringing up strike all the time isn't healthy at all. So I just feel they need to do better.
The welfare of workers is very important because they are the ones who serve us, the students, basically. They serve us, the students, and other employees. And I believe that they have to be treated fairly in accordance to humane activities. They have to be treated in the most humane way possible. You know, the welfare of them, their families, how they, how they are treated, and also it reflects on how they treat those they are serving. So their welfare is actually very important, but their attitude towards work is also very important too. And they both play two important parts. They go hand in hand, basically. But sometimes, when you see workers being treated unfairly, there's always a reason behind it, how they work, whether they work. But that also falls back on those ahead of them, their supervisors and all. But I feel, everything goes hand in hand, basically. And it's always hand in hand. There's no way one part can be done without the other.
I would say from my time in a secondary institution, workers and the students go hand in hand. So they work for the students also work to make sure they don't have to do a lot of work. So it's like respect, to respect them. We don't that we don't if they are there to do something, we don't make it worse than it was in the first place and stuff like that. I would also say there's a certain attitude that workers are to give to students, and in most cases that attitude is not really found.
On the profile interview segment this week, I'll be speaking with the national president of SANU. It tells me it's important for the federal government and relevant stakeholders to invest heavily in education to ensure a secured future. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you.
And congratulations on the re-election that the union just did recently. It's good to have you on the program. Very quickly, we go straight to the point. What has been the update as regards the withheld salaries, which prompted SANU to embark on an industrial action last year?
Well, thanks for having me, Sharon, and thanks for congratulating us. The current situation we have with regards to our unfulfilled promises with government is clearly a disturbing situation, because we have been living with promises upon promises upon promises right from the last administration of Muhammadu Buhari. And when President Tinubu took over, everything became promising and the cost became clearer, because we had had engagements with the government and it was intentional in its communication with us as a union. And there were promises that the withheld salaries was going to be paid, and then we also reminded them of the 50 billion naira and allowances that was also part of what we agreed with the previous government that led us to suspend the strike that we went on in 2022. Now, on the withheld salaries, government have been able to pay 50% of what they were owing us. It was 4 months, and we got 2 months in SANU and NASU, while other unions also had half of what was withheld for them. And since then, everything went back to limbo, and we have been pushing to see that if those promises will still see the light of the day. I'm happy to report that the current Minister of Education, Dr. Maruf Olatunji Alausa, has shown capacity in a way that accessing him, communicating with him, dialoguing with him has become even easier, because his doors have been opened so far. And we have drawn his attention to the fact that there are things that the previous administration and even the previous minister under this same administration that promised our unions, but we have not been able to see that. And he did promise that he was going to take it up with government. Largely, we also understand that some of these things are budgetary in nature. And we are happy that this is the beginning of the year, and the budget has even been reviewed, by the president. So education is having, for the first time, almost the largest share. So we hope this will spell something good to our educational system and to university education in particular. What we need people and government to understand is that when you have an enhanced and a well-remunerated members of staff working in the universities, teaching and non-teaching, you will have very, very qualitative education dispensed of and also transmitted to the students. And this will fortify them and make them even better graduates, so that they will be able to face the challenges of the employment market. Now, apart from that, we also need to draw the attention of the government to understand that as long as those promises are not fulfilled, we will continue to have a cycle dance because unionists naturally have their jobs cut out for them to struggle to fight for the members of their different unions to ensure that welfare and well-being of members are not shortchanged. So, and this is what we will continue to do, going forward.
Is there any update as regards the end allowance, which was captured in the 2023 budget of the country? Have workers started earning this morning in real time?
This is another disturbing situation. Disturbing in the sense that at the last engagement we had with the current Minister of Education, Dr. Alausa, he made us understand that, yes, it was captured in 2023 budget, but it never saw the light of the day, and that it was said to have been rolled over on the paper in 2024, but it was not properly, pursued. And these are things that we see as major challenges, major setbacks. The president and his, lieutenants may have good intentions for the system, but where you have foot soldiers, those working in the ministries, who do not necessarily support the positivity in government, it clearly becomes an issue. I do not understand, and none of us can tell you whether we understand why a president will give a directive and then those in government will not implement it, and then nothing comes out of it. So for us, government had promised, we have signed documents that 50 billion naira has been allocated for allowances, and that money must be paid because we are not willing and we are not ready to rest our oars because we will continue to push, and that our patience clearly is running out. Our members are not happy because everybody has been agitating, and what is even aggravating the whole matter is the economic situation of the country. You understand that the workers in the universities are the most hard hit economically because of the challenge of even transportation. Most of our universities are sited way outside the capital cities. So you have to commute, you have to transport yourself 20, 30 kilometers away from township. And doing that, 20 days or 21 days in a month is not, and in some cases even 30 days, because workers in the universities work even during weekends. That becomes a clear challenge. And coupled with the rising cost of foodstuff, electricity bills, and other related matters. So completely the system in the university is seriously challenged infrastructurally, economically, and even psychologically as it affects members of staff.
Still talking about money, of course it's important we talk about money because as a unionist, I believe the crux of your job or your duty is to ensure that the welfare of your workers is, your members is well taken care of. The FGN 2009 negotiation committee was put in place once again, late last year. Is there any update as regards the workings and probably the findings from this committee set up to look at renegotiate FGN 2009 agreement?
The 2009 agreement has become like an albatross to workers in the different sectors of the university, community. You cannot explain, and I don't know which lab you'll go into to research and find out why that 2009 agreement has refused to see the light of the day, in its, totality. We have had a renegotiation of that committee by Wale Babalakin, Professor Munzali Jibril, Professor Nimi Briggs of blessed memory, and now our elder statesman, the former SGF, has been appointed to Yayale Ahmed to see to the conclusion. Yes, all the other previous committees, for us in SANU, did not do anything much. And now we have Dr. Yayale Ahmed, who came with all the energy, because we have had the inaugural meeting. And we are just prayerful and hopeful that he will not be sabotaged or he will not be also boxed to a corner Because it's one thing to have a committee, and it's totally another for the committee to have the freedom, the latitude, and also the ambience for it to be able to operate. So since the inauguration, we have not had any other meeting. And I do not understand why such should be happening, because that committee should not last more than necessary. Probably 3 months, 6 months, we should be done. And that things that government can do, can go ahead and do them. Things they cannot do, all the union leaders are not coming from the moon. We are Nigerians, we are human beings, we can renegotiate them. We can look at reality and understand why things must be done, why things may not be done, and why things should be done in such a manner. So the renegotiation committee has been kick-started, but moving at a very snail speed. So I do not know, and I'm hopeful, because Yayale is someone with capacity and is someone that has, you know, all that it takes to drive this renegotiation, and we hope that he will be given the wherewithal to do that.
Funding of the university, how important is this to the Nigerian government? How important is this for you as a unionist, and how will it affect teachers and students in the classroom?
That is the crux of the matter. People in government sometimes behave as if they have forgotten that they were also once products of, you know, citadels of learning. They have also forgotten that they have also been to schools where they were tutored, where they were mentored, where they were educated to become what they are today. Funding in the education sector is the major thing that government should put its interest in. If you fund education adequately and enough, you will spend less in security, you spend less in healthcare, you spend less in infrastructure development, because the population is now educated. They will understand on how to do things better. They will understand on how to relate with their own community and people better. So, but what it is today is that government deliberately, I should think so, you know, starve the education sector by not funding it properly, and therefore giving all the room for maneuvers within the system. For example, even as bad as the funding is currently, we have had a situation where some people are now asking universities, for example, to remit what they take as charges to government back as IGR. There is nothing like IGR in the university system. For those of us who work in the system, we know whatever a student pays is for service. If you pay for ID card, they give you ID card. If you pay for hostel, they give you hostel. If you pay for medicals, they give you medical services. And therefore, where do you expect these universities to now get this money that they will remit back to the government? So if government is not serious about taking care of the population, the best way is they neglect education. And I want to believe that the current government with the present minister should understand that we cannot but continue to improve on the funding of the system. The major challenge we have today in the system is even electricity. There's no way you can run a university without electricity. And I can tell you, and I've said it severally, that as of today, there is no public university, be it state or federal, that has its overhead funded enough to pay even electricity bill. ABU Zaria, University of Lagos, University of Ibadan, you've just seen last week how people take their generators to University College Hospital. So how do you expect the system to run? So government should be deliberate in funding education, and universities in particular. Without TED fund, I wonder what would have been the situation in the universities. And even with that now, today we are seeing that there is something coming behind the scene in the name of tax system that will come to remove funding of TED fund. And once TED fund is gone, I assure you, all our universities, public universities, will be grounded and they will become history.
Thank you very much for your time. And that's all we can take on today's edition of the program. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the show. I am Sharon Ijason. Thanks for watching, and remember that labor creates wealth.